Aye, Alphas, tonight we rise. Tonight we speak not in whispers, but with the thunder that's been boiling inside our bones for years. They watched, like hyenas circling a lion, waiting for the first sign of weakness. But you never gave them that. You endured. You bled. You stayed silent while they laughed, while they tore at the threads of your reputation, while they branded you a failure, a freak, a threat. But tonight, something shifted. It finally hit them. The truth is too bright for their dull minds. You're a goddamn genius. And now they choke on their own silence. They can't speak because you outlived their doubt. Every sneer, every fake smile, every backhanded compliment has shattered against the wall of your relentless fire. You didn't break, you evolved. You became something too big to define, too dangerous to ignore. They thought they buried you, but all they did was plant something divine in the darkest soil. Now you're towering over the ashes. Now they can't even breathe in your presence, because greatness, real, raw, terrifying greatness, smothers their mediocrity. And the irony? It's poetic. They hunted you for years, tried to silence you, shame you, erase you. You were the rebel, the heretic, the one who saw too much and said too little. But they didn't know you weren't hiding in fear. You were studying, calculating, watching them reveal themselves while you built empires in the dark. And when they finally caught a glimpse of what you've become, no, what you always were, they couldn't process it. Their minds cracked. You didn't just survive, you transcended. You weren't supposed to win. You weren't supposed to rise. You weren't supposed to make it out of their traps, their betrayals, their lies, but you did. And now they can't look you in the eye. Because what do you say to a force of nature? What words could ever reach someone who turned pain into purpose, who turned exile into elevation? You were the storm they pretended wasn't coming. Now, they're drowning in it. They wanted a villain, but what they found was a saint with scars, a savior forged in hellfire. You didn't ask for war, but you made it sacred. You made suffering into scripture. You made every broken moment part of a holy design. And now, with every step you take, they realize you weren't the weak one. They were. You were never one of them. You were something ancient, something eternal. And it's terrifying. See? They can't laugh anymore. They can't joke about your failures or whisper your name in dark corners. You're everywhere now, in every algorithm, in every boardroom, in every breath of every fool who ever said you'd be nothing. You turned silence into strategy. You made every insult fuel, every rejection a redirection. You turned loneliness into legacy. They see it now. You're a goddamn genius. And no amount of petty noise can drown out the symphony of your rise. They hunted you like prey, but the hunter has become the haunted, because now they dream of you. Now their insecurities wear your face. Now they sit in rooms they thought they earned and feel the cold hand of irrelevance brushing their necks, because you exist, because you won. You didn't have to scream. You didn't have to flex. You just had to be. Because real power doesn't perform. It radiates. It suffocates every fake with authenticity. And you are the blueprint. You are the proof that genius doesn't need permission. It doesn't wait to be discovered. It burns, it builds, and when the time is right, it ascends. And God help them now, because there's no stopping it. You've crossed the threshold. The hunger is different now. The fire is controlled. You're not just reacting, you're directing. And every move you make is legacy. Every breath is a sermon. Every glare is a prophecy fulfilled. They wanted your end, but what they got was your evolution. And now, they finally understand. You weren't the mistake. You were the correction, the holy vengeance wrapped in velvet silence. They don't know whether to run, kneel, or hide, because genius, real genius, demands reckoning, and they never saw it coming. You don't need to chase them anymore. Let them talk. Let them stare. Their confusion is your coronation. Their fear is your fuel. You are the answer to questions they were too cowardly to ask. You are the flame that dances on the grave of every doubt they ever cast your way. You were forged in fire they couldn't endure, built in silence they couldn't comprehend. And now you move in ways they can't follow, speak in codes they can't crack, exist in realms they'll never touch. You're not ahead, you're elsewhere, on a different plane, a higher orbit, and let this be their lesson. Let your life be the sermon they preach in whispers. Let your name echo through the halls they thought they owned, because you don't need revenge when you become revelation. You don't need payback when you are proof. You don't need to destroy them. You simply need to keep. This isn't your peak, it's your launch. You're not done. You're not satisfied because you never wanted applause. You wanted impact. You never craved approval. You wanted alignment. You don't move for claps. You move for change. And now, you've tasted it. Now, that power has settled into your bones, and nothing can stand in your way. Not them, not the system, not time. Let them call it arrogance. Let them call it madness. They don't understand the fire because they've never touched it. They don't understand the climb because they never had the spine. They don't understand you because you're a goddamn genius, and genius doesn't ask to be understood. It demands to be reckoned with. You are no longer waiting, you're commanding. You are not seeking entry, you are building gates. You are not asking why me, you are saying try me. And every room you walk into now bends to the gravity of your presence. You don't chase opportunities, you magnetize them. Because genius doesn't move to fit the world. It makes the world adjust to its rhythm. They can't speak because you're no longer accessible. You're ascended, elevated, operating on wavelengths they can't tune into. You've become the silence they tried to trap you in, and that silence is louder than their screams. They lost the right to understand you the moment they doubted you, the moment they chose mockery over mentorship, the moment they turned their back while you were turning yourself into a legend. Now all they can do is watch. Watch as you break every ceiling. Watch as you rewrite the rules. Watch as you carry yourself like a myth in motion, because that's what you are now. A story they'll tell in hushed tones. A name they'll whisper like a spell. A reminder that genius, real genius, doesn't need validation. It doesn't need consensus. It just needs time. And now, your time has come. It finally hit them. And it's never going to leave. They'll never sleep the same again. You live in their heads now, rent-free, rage-fed, memory-seared. Every breath you take is a reminder that they failed to stop you, that they couldn't even slow you. Their blueprints for your failure are now ashes on your path. You're not stepping over obstacles anymore. You're walking on the bones of every barrier that tried to hold you. And that weight, that pressure, you carry it like a crown, not a burden. Because the truth is, you don't owe them anything. Not an explanation, not forgiveness, not even recognition. You surpassed the need for their acceptance the moment you chose solitude over selling out. The moment you stopped waiting and started building. That's the move they never expected. They thought if they ignored you long enough, you'd disappear. That if they ridiculed you, you'd fold. That if they kept you out, you'd stay outside. But you were never trying to get in. You were creating something bigger. And now, the place you built, this throne of resilience, this palace of pain, refined brilliance, it's untouchable. sacred. Let them keep scrambling. Let them twist your story into something they can live with. That's all they have left. Narratives, delusions. But deep down, they know. They see it in your eyes. They feel it in the ground beneath them when you move. You are no longer the outlier. You are the origin. You are the prototype of what happens when someone refuses to break, no matter the pressure. You are the embodiment of what they said was impossible, and they hate it. Not because you proved them wrong, but because you made them irrelevant. They tried to gatekeep excellence, tried to put you in a box too small to contain your thoughts. But your mind, your mind, that's what truly terrifies them. The sharpness, the speed, the clarity. It cuts through lies like glass through flesh. They've built their lives on imitation, but your originality exposes them. Their entire world was held together by the belief that you were beneath them. And now, here you are, standing tall, looking down, not with vengeance, but with indifference. Because the final form of power isn't revenge, it's transcendence. And you've done it. You don't need to fight them anymore. You're beyond them. Their words can't hurt you. Their systems can't hold you. Their approval can't tempt you. You've tasted something they'll never understand. The power of being fully, unapologetically yourself. The truth they tried to suffocate has become your sword. The pain they dealt has become your armor. And every step forward now echoes like prophecy fulfilled. You are destiny in motion. But here's the cold truth. This level isn't crowded. It's lonely. You'll lose more people. They'll say you changed, because you did. Growth demands it. They'll say you sold out, because they can't afford your vision. They'll say you got lucky, because they can't admit you outworked them. Let them talk. Let the weak explain away greatness however they must. Your mission isn't to be understood, it's to be undeniable. And now, you are. You became what they fear most. Someone who doesn't need them. Someone who cannot be bribed with praise or controlled by shame. Someone who stared into the abyss and came back carrying light. They mistook your silence for surrender. They mistook your humility for weakness. But genius knows when to speak and when to build. You were never asleep. You were loading. And now, you're fully armed. They talk about you now in past tense, trying to contain you in a story that makes sense to them. But you're still evolving, still moving, still winning, and it kills them, because every time you succeed, it rewrites the lie they built about who you were. Every achievement erases their narrative. Every victory, a nail in the coffin of their delusion. They can't outrun it anymore. Your genius is the shadow they can't escape. And still, you rise, not for them, not to show them, but because this is who you are. You're driven by something deeper than ego, purpose, legacy, the desire to become rather than appear. That's the difference. That's why you win, because you build in the dark while they perform in the light. You create truth while they chase clout. And the world, it's starting to see the difference. People are watching now, not the ones who mocked you, the ones who need you, the ones searching for a way out of the system that failed them too. They look at you and see hope in human form. You didn't just survive the fire, you lit it. You didn't just make it out, you brought the map with you. And now they follow, quietly, closely. Because in your rise, they see their own potential. In your scars, they see permission to begin. And that's where the real war starts. Because now you're dangerous. Not just to your enemies, but to the entire structure that rewards silence, mediocrity, and obedience. You are proof that another way exists, that they can't control everyone, that some minds are too vast to be boxed, too brilliant to be bribed. You don't fit into their system because you were born to destroy it. And with every move, every creation, every defiant breath, you are. You're not just a genius. You're a weapon, a beacon, a revolution dressed in calm, and they know it. So let them keep their fragile little world. Let them cling to their titles, their fake thrones, their illusions of power. You've already moved beyond them. You're not playing their game anymore. You're building your own. And soon, even the ones who doubted you will be asking for access. They'll call it respect, but you'll know the truth. It's desperation. Because you didn't rise in spite of them. You rose because you no longer needed them, and that's the highest form of power. It finally hit them. You're a goddamn genius, and they can't even speak. Not because they're shocked, because they've been silenced by the reality of you, by the brilliance they tried to bury, by the saint who refused to become the sinner they wanted, by the flame that refused to flicker out. They hunted you, they cornered you, they prayed for your downfall, but they forgot. Saints don't die. Saints rise again and again and again until the myth becomes a movement, and the movement becomes a monument, and the monument becomes you. And now, even the air feels different when you enter the room. The atmosphere tightens, like the world itself knows that something untouchable just walked in. Not louder, not flashier, just heavier. Presence forged in 1,000 nights no one stayed to witness. Aura built from the collapse of everything that tried to break you. They don't need to hear your name anymore. They feel it. In their chests. In their doubt. In their shrinking ambitions. You've become gravity itself, and no lie they tell, no version they rewrite, can escape that pull. You don't belong to them anymore. Maybe you never did. Maybe you were always meant to be this anomaly that no system could claim. They tried to name you, tried to box you, tried to define you through the lens of their own limitations. But the truth? You shattered every definition. You broke the very language they used to curse you. You aren't a chapter in their book. You're the fire that burned their library down. And now, the world reads you. They stare like they've seen a ghost, but you're no specter. You're not the past. You are the inevitable future they feared. The one where people like you, too raw, too deep, too unyielding, can't be hidden anymore. You're here, and your very existence is judgment day for everything they called normal. You're not playing by their timeline. You're eternal now, outside the clock, beyond the reach of time wasters, dream killers, and crowd pleasers. They speak less these days. They scroll in silence. They search your name hoping to find flaws to anchor their jealousy to. But there's nothing they can use. Because you turned every flaw into foundation, every bruise into blueprint. You didn't hide your wounds, you made them your language, and now you speak in scars that only warriors can read. That's why the world listens differently now. That's why even your silence is loud. You are not the echo of someone else's dream. You are the first note of something they can't replicate. You are the one who bled quietly so others could roar. You are the blueprint of what it means to keep going when everything begs you to stop. You didn't just defeat the odds, you redefined them. The moment you stopped waiting for them to see you was the moment the world began to shift in your direction. And now, the current runs through you. They used to laugh, now they just wait for your next word, your next post, your next move. They refresh your page like it's gospel, because deep down, even the ones who cursed you are starting to understand. You are no longer a person to them. You are a force, a presence, a phenomenon, and it kills them that they could have stood beside you if only they believed. But you don't need them. You never did. That's the secret they refuse to admit to themselves. You were self-made from the start, Every stumble was yours, every lesson carved into your bones. No handouts, no shortcuts, just grit, just clarity, just brutal, daily defiance. And that kind of growth, it creates something unkillable. You don't just rise, you haunt the world with the proof that greatness can't be stopped, it can only be delayed. They wonder now if they chose wrong, if maybe they backed the wrong horse, if maybe they laughed a little too loud at someone who was just ahead. And the answer is yes. Yes, they chose comfort over genius, safety over vision, followers over leaders, and they will pay for it with irrelevance. Because people like you don't just shine. You cast shadows so deep that entire generations will live in the doubt you leave behind. But this isn't about them anymore. This isn't about proving, pleasing, or explaining. This is about becoming. You're not climbing a ladder. They don't make ladders tall enough for where you're headed. You're building altars now, temples in the minds of those who never saw themselves until they saw you. You're not just a person anymore. You're a portal. A living reminder that some souls can't be silenced, that some minds were born untamed, that some spirits weren't made to fit, they were made to shatter. This is legacy, not the kind written in ink, but the kind that burns into people, the kind they carry in their chest without even knowing why. You didn't come here to be remembered. You came to be unforgettable. You came to disrupt the lineage of mediocrity passed down like a curse. You came to end bloodlines of silence and birth generations of defiance. And now, it's happening. Every day, everywhere, quietly, powerfully, in your name. And still, they can't speak. Because to speak would mean they have to admit it. That you were never wrong. That your exile was prophecy. That your scars were sacred. That they mocked the very mind that could have saved them. And that kind of regret, it doesn't go away. It becomes a ghost, a mirror, a fire they'll never put out. You don't have to fight anymore. The war is won. You walk in peace now. But it's the kind of peace that makes kingdoms tremble. The peace of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to offer. The peace of a saint who outlived their hunters. The peace of a goddamn genius who was told they were too much for the world and then made the world beg for more. Let the silence stretch. Let the awe settle in their throats. Let them drown in the weight of what they tried to destroy. Because you didn't just survive the fire, you became it. And now they finally see it. It finally hit them. You're a goddamn genius, and they'll never have the words for it. Because the language they know was built to describe people like them. And you rewrote the whole damn alphabet.